Hey, folks. First off, me, Jessica, and Felicia would like to say thank you so much for listening to the Liars Club and supporting us. Whatever you're listening on, be it Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, everything, please give us a rate, a review, a subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would mean the world to us. Thank you.
Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
And today, we have two really cool guests. You know what? I'm so glad, Jackie, that you're doing the podcast. No, because when I got back into comedy, I did Lisa Sunstead's Pretty Funny Women, and that's where we met. And I hadn't done comedy in 9 years. And so I knew I have to go meet young comedians to find out where the open mics were. And that's why I took that class. And so one of our first guests, I'll go ahead and introduce her, is named Jackie Gold. Everybody give it up for Jackie Gold.
Yay!
Yay. Thanks
She
for
also
having me.
told me that she has a #1 album on Amazon.
Nice. What's the name of your comedy album?
It's Maximum Occupancy.
Oh, is all vagina jokes?
There is a handful.
Okay.
It's
Sounds lazy to
it's actually
me.
more references mouth span, actually.
Okay, all
mouth
right.
occupancy versus vagina occupancy.
Wow, I like how you
But
roll.
yes, it's a family-friendly album.
Is it though?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, wonderful.
And over here, I really appreciated his description on Twitter. It says he's a comedian, a choir boy, beautiful hair, author of 3 books on Amazon. Please welcome Mark Hayes.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Nice to meet you
Because
all.
you do have great hair.
You do
Oh,
have
it's
now.
it
I'm
used to be
looking
nicer
at it.
though.
Why?
It used to be like
looks
long
good.
down to my shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, but everybody kept thinking you were Dalia,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I had to go.
I feel like Dalia was like, I can't take you anymore with me unless you cut this hair.
It was more like people would come up to me after his show. Even if I was opening for him, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Chris," and I'm like, "You just saw the fucking show. You know he's wearing a black top and I'm wearing a white one." And they're like, "Are you doing a bit?"
Where are you from?
Ireland,
Oh, wow. We're in Ireland.
Cork,
Okay. The island of Cork?
the island.
Okay. See,
And
I
instead,
knew it was
everyone's
an
like, I love your
island.
Scottish accent.
I know.
Well,
I
no,
didn't.
it was Cork. Cork isn't an island.
It's not an island?
No,
oh,
I thought it was a joke.
Oh, no.
Miss Sophisticated over
I
here.
thought it was an island. The island of Cork. Why did I?
And I was so impressed because I know nothing of geography that I was like, how impressive that Felicia knows all about
You guys
Cork.
are just jealous that I take chances. Anyways, because when you were first talking, even outside, I didn't hear your accent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It does
It's
come in
so
waves.
thick.
Yeah.
I kind of just don't speak around people I don't know because they're like, "Oh, do you have autism? What's happening here?"
Yeah, I thought you were stoned, but okay.
I feel like it comes like in certain words. Like there are some times where like while you're speaking, it hits me where I'm like, oh yeah, there's an accent. Oh, I forgot. I forgot there
I
it
try
is.
and minimalize words until people are like, "Oh, wait, something's different."
Are you a big UFC fan with
Oh
what's his
yeah,
name?
McGregor.
McGregor?
yeah.
People
He's
in Ireland
unreal.
go crazy over that guy.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of people hate him too in Ireland.
He's
Really?
not allowed
Yeah.
to drive now.
I thought Irish band together like no matter what.
No.
They're like, that's our guy.
No, if you're in Ireland, you hate everyone who's successful outside of Ireland. Like in Ireland, you hate you too. You used to hate Colin
Really?
Farrell. Yeah, you think Bono's a prick. And then you leave Ireland.
Is it like they got too big for their britches type of thing?
They're like, "Oh, who the fuck does he think he is?" But then I came to LA and I remember like driving from LAX and they started playing U2 and I was like, "I love you, Bono. I fucking love you."
I've always felt really connected to the Irish because I feel like they're the white trash of
Oh yeah,
United
we're brutal.
Kingdom.
We're good though. It's fun as fuck living in
Yeah.
Ireland because we just put each other down the whole time. No matter what, like I could do anything in comedy, and 5 of my best friends will sincerely be like, "You know, you're not funny. You know, you're never funny."
Oh, you just did a theater?
Yeah. They're like, "You know, I'm funnier than you. I could do that," and you just be like, "All right, that's good."
Is Tommy Tiernan Irish?
Yeah.
Oh, he. Do you like Tommy?
Yeah, he's
he's a
really
great
good.
guy. Yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing and photographing him several times, and he was always very kind.
That always
Yeah.
sounds
Very
like
nice
it could
man.
be like I had the pleasure of photographing him.
Yeah.
You just shut up.
It's also such an awkward thing to ask a comic on a podcast. Like, what do you think of him? It's like, yeah, you have to say yes. Like,
but
even if
just
he
his
thinks the guy's a
thoughts,
douche,
yeah.
he has to be like, he's hilarious. I love
He was
him.
going to talk shit or anything.
Yeah, it's like, do you like him? You
You're
think he's
fucking
funny? He's like,
monkey,
fuck.
bitch.
That is
Anyways,
my.
that's my monkey. My
That's what I
monkey's
call my
different.
mishigas. That's my craziness that goes on in my head.
Well, good. Thank you guys for doing the podcast. What we do for everyone that's just tuning in for the first time is we ask some of our comedy pals to come on and tell 2 stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And then we try to figure out which one is the lie. And we'll ask questions so we can thoroughly understand the story. Jessica gets a little fucking... And she
Heated?
likes to interrogate people like a motherfucker, just so you know, and don't get your feelings hurt. So who should we start with first? Jessica, why don't you pick who you want to go first?
The Irishman.
All right. You do know I have weird stories.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. I have like 3 books.
I know. I
Of
saw that.
weird stories.
It's something the dumb. What was it called?
Random.
Yeah.
The dumb. You just remember the dumb part of it.
I do want to hear more about your books for sure.
Oh yeah, and I got like 2 poetry books coming out, so it's very
do?
dumb.
Really?
Yeah. It's so dumb.
Wow.
So the dumb is a good.
So mysterious. Like, you would never guess you write poetry by looking at you.
Yeah, but some of them are like filthy poems too. Some of them are nice. One's romantic, but also funny, and then the other is just filthy sex.
It's a lot like Hickory Dickory Dock, come sit on my cock, like very like
No,
that type
come
of.
on, we're not
like
that bad.
dice dirty.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I got some great stories,
Okay.
and great lies. You'll never know.
I'll never know.
You'll never know.
Or will I? Let's see.
Find out.
Go for
Oh, so I tell you.
Get on it.
I'm already struggling. One time outside the Comedy Store, this dude came up to me and he was like, "Oh, that was funny. Can we take a photo?" And I was on my phone. I was like, "All right, cool." So I put my phone in my pocket, and he was taking a couple of selfies. And then he left, and then I walked back in here, and he was like, and I was like, "Oh shit, my phone! He stole my phone."
Are you serious?
Do you think he stole it or that he accidentally walked away with it?
Oh no, he stole it. Wait, that's not. There's way more to this story.
Oh, 'cause you
Okay.
did-
This motherfucker's going to tell a short story. All right.
Oh yeah, that's like a tweet.
Everything sounds better with an accent. It really does.
So then I went boozing, and I was like, went home kind of fucking drunk, and I checked on like my iPhone thing that find your phone,
Yeah.
and it was in East Hollywood. So the next day I woke up, I checked again, I drove out there, and it was in this like Chinese supermarket restaurant. And I kind of went still drunk and without a buddy, so I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? So I just started walking up to people and being like, "Oh, do you have my phone?"
And did you, could you have recognized the guy that took the phone?
Vaguely, but it was all Chinese people. He wasn't Chinese.
Okay, all
He
right.
was just like an American
Okay,
looking dude. So I was
You should have
just.
stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
But okay.
So then I'm just going up to people, and eventually the manager comes over to me, and he's just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, I lost my phone." And then he's like, "I will help you." So I'm like, "Cool." So he lets me log in to find my iPhone on his phone. And I was like, while I'm logging in, he was like, "Why did you move to LA?" He starts tickling my stomach.
Tickling you?
Yeah.
Why was he tickling you?
He was like gay and
Why
trying
did
to
you move
flirt
to
with
LA?
me. Yeah, he goes,
That seems really sudden to do.
he goes, "You're a silly, silly boy," and I was just like, okay, didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Cute.
Yeah,
Maybe he
Was
thought
he
you were
trained?
autistic.
Was he Asian too?
yeah, Asian.
Maybe he didn't understand you were Irish, and he was all like, "Oh, I can take advantage of this."
Yeah, he probably did.
Wait, so
And
this
then-
Asian manager is tickling you while
Tickling
he
me,
hits on
and I'm
you.
like, for
Well, you're walking around like a schizophrenic
Yeah.
saying, "Where's my phone? You got
Oh,
my phone?
yeah,
You got my
exactly.
phone?"
And then, so he was like, the phone was at the place, but it had just left, but it was going east, and it was in like a dodgy neighborhood. So he was like, "You wait and just wait till it stops." So eventually it stops. He's like, "Phone the police, go to the police." So I phone the police. He starts tickling me while I'm on the phone to the police.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
And then
Wow.
he comes from behind and starts tickling me
Where is
too,
he
which
tickling
is
you
weird.
at?
My stomach. He's like, you silly boy.
Just the middle of your stomach?
Yeah, just like.
Okay.
It never goes lower when he tickles you.
I blacked out, so I don't know.
Do we have a doll?
And what do you say to him?
Show us where the bad man tickled you.
What were you saying to him when he was tickling you?
I was just in my head. I was like, "All right, do what you have to do, man. I just want my phone."
Just to get the phone.
Got
Did
the
you
phone.
scooch away or anything?
I was kind of fucking so hungover. I was just like, "Oh, get the fuck away from me!" But he was my only friend, so I was like, "I need
Your
this."
only friend.
Well, like to get the phone back. Because like I didn't have a phone to phone friends, so I just drove out there and I was like, "Fuck it." So then the police are like, "It's going to take an hour to come out." So I was like, "Ah, fuck
They could
this."
have moved by then.
Yeah. So I said, "Can you write?" I was like, "Will you come with me?" And he's like, "No. If we were best friends, I would go with you." But we just
And this is a
became friends.
Chinese man, right?
Chinese man, yeah. So
How,
I'm.
do you have a thick accent while he's saying this? Or
Yeah.
it's just like,
Oh yeah,
I love that that's going down in
yeah.
Hollywood, USA.
He's like, "If we were best friends, I would, yes, but no." And I was like, "Okay."
there's a really good Chinese accent.
So then he was like, I
be
asked
killer
him for
one, you never
Google. I was like, "Can you just write the instructions of this building to where it is?" And he was like, he comes back with a poster that was on the shop window. The poster was like this big. And I was like, "You don't have a smaller piece of paper?" He was like, "No." So he wrote all the directions down
On
on
a
this
big poster?
huge poster. I could barely fit it into my car. So I'm driving.
Oh, was the one you couldn't roll up? It was like a
It
poster
was like, yeah,
board.
it was like a hard laminated
yeah, like
back.
a 3-foot
yeah.
poster board.
And I'm just in my car driving, and I get to this place. There's no lights. It's dodgy as fuck. And there's like 3 little bungalows, and there's only lights on in the middle one. So I'm like, all right, my phone must be in there.
Sounds like where I live. Go ahead.
So I go up, and there's like music blaring from this fucking little place. And I look in the window, and it's like a fucking tiny apartment, and it's just full of fucking newspapers and like a hoarder's house. And there's a little person on the couch, like watching.
Hold on. Wait.
All of our eyes at the exact same moment.
A little person.
Don't you gloss over that. You mean like a real little person on a stack of newspapers?
Or do you
I
mean like a
keep
small
telling-
child?
I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was like, what's going on? And the song that was playing was Prodigy, Firestarter. Which is
that go? I
a
don't
scary
even know what that
song.
sounds
Oh,
like.
it's like
You're really painting a picture here.
yeah. And then so I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna die. All from my phone. The only reason I wanted my phone back was because I got this really hot girl's number after the show. And I was like, I gotta get it back. I never saved it properly. So then I knock on the door of the little person's place. And in the bungalow behind me, I swear to God, I just hear masking tape being like, and I was like, oh, I'm going to die. I didn't piece it together. So the person comes out, and it's a tiny little Asian woman. And she's like wearing a pink blanket. And I was like, I think my phone's in here, because you can do a message on the phone, being like, I'm coming to get my phone. And she just starts screaming at me in Chinese or something. And I was just like, fuck. She slams the door and goes in, runs to another room. And I like go around the outside, and I look in, and there's another dude in a different room. He's topless, like a fat Chinese dude. And he's playing air guitar. And my phone is in his hand. And I'm just like, there's my fucking phone. So I bang on it again. This time an old Chinese man answers. It must have been his
How did
dad.
you see her run into the other room?
Because it was all on the same ground level. So I was just like looking at her move from room to room.
And she had all her blinds open?
Oh yeah, everything was open. So you could just look in at all these
That's
fucking...
interesting. And why would a hoarder keep all their blinds open?
I don't know.
It's not very Asianish to let everybody look inside their home. They're very, very private.
Is that even the correct thing to say? Asianness?
Asianish is, I believe that's the official term.
So then I knock on the door again, and the dude bounces out who had been playing the air guitar. He's like sweating from playing it so much, and he was like, "Are you here for the phone?" I was like, "Yeah." And he hands it to me, and he hugs me, and he's like, "Goodbye." And I just jumped to my car and I drove home.
What was he on drugs? Was he rolling? Was he?
I didn't.
Everybody wants
I
to
didn't
touch you.
say.
Everywhere
Yeah.
you go,
Was the
everyone's
phone
touching you.
unlocked?
No, it was locked. But you can put like a save message on the front.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, I'm on the way to get my phone, just so you know. So he knew I was coming. And then that night around midnight, I get a text from some random number. And it was like, hey, friend, really nice to meet you today. You should come back to the restaurant. I'll buy you dinner on me. It's your new friend. It was the manager,
Right.
silly boy dude.
Oh, you had given him your number?
He needed to
Oh,
put it.
probably for the Find My
Yeah,
Phone.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
Am I just helping your story? Like, am I giving you the plausibility
No,
for your
you-
story?
please ask questions.
Yeah, if you didn't log out, he probably had everything.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I can't. No,
He
I
could
think
probably know where you were.
He probably knew where he lived. Oh. What if it was like his own family?
But
That
he
would be
said
the
that-
greatest
yeah,
plot
but he said
twist.
they weren't able to log into the phone.
No, he was able to see where it was.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
he went
No, the
to
guy
East
who
Hollywood.
his Tickle Me Elmo friend used the Find My
Yeah.
Phone.
Wow.
So he could have been following him for a while.
Wow. Tickling, though? Tickling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of tickling.
But wait, I'm confused.
That was the
How-
weirdest part, too,
But how
right?
would this chubby Asian get your phone from a white dude?
Here's the thing. People asked that, and I was like, oh, I thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to be like, all right, piece all of this together for me. How the fuck did you get my phone? I think the white American dude went to that restaurant, forgot it, and he just picked it up.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay.
If someone steals your phone, is there that much of a market for stolen phones? There must be, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because part of me wonders now with all the security things, like I don't think like it's no use in stealing one person's phone. It's like usually virtually useless, or I don't know. It's the security features. You can never use somebody else's phone anyway.
Well, no, you could. Can't you erase it and start all over?
You can.
Oh, you can. All right.
Well, like my son needed his social security number, so I took a picture of his social security card, and then he lost his fucking phone. I'm like, dumb shit, your picture is on that fucking phone of your social security. Oh, it doesn't matter, Mom. That's how fuck you, dick. You know, that's how I feel about my kids right now. I love them though, but you know what I mean.
I do that
right?
with like if I have to text a credit card number to somebody. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
shit, delete this text when you're done.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Any questions? Anybody have
Well,
questions?
you know, Felicia took me for Chinese recently.
Yeah. Yes.
And do you know that they get, so we sat down, right?
You're
We
gonna
sat
bring this
down
up.
and they had these plates that were beautiful.
Decorative plates.
Beautiful. And I was so excited to get to eat off these things, right? So excited that I had her take a picture of me. Like, look at the plate, right?
Right as I take a picture, the guy comes over and takes it away from her.
What?
He did. He came and took our order, and then he took the plates. I was like, oh, excuse me. And he's like, oh, did you want to buy it? I was like,
What? Jesus.
But in restaurants in general, that actually always weirds me out. I never understand that. There's a lot of restaurants that you have a plate in front of you and then they take it away before you eat food. I'm like, what was the point of there ever being a plate?
I don't know.
It
Apparently,
serves
Decoration.
zero purpose.
apparently they're called chargers. This is what
They
someone told me
are.
online.
Really?
But usually chargers
Yeah.
what you put the plate on top of. It's just like supposed to like you don't take it
that's
away.
right.
The plate goes on top
Yeah.
of it and it's like, oh, now look at this pretty gold underneath my plate. But it's not like it's always so weird to me when you
Yeah,
order and
why
I'm
you
like,
took it away?
I was like, what was the point of it being here?
I love that we're talking about fucking plates at a Chinese restaurant. and this gentleman here just threw down a story about how a guy was tickling him out in the public. That's pretty crazy. Like, how many times did he tickle you, and for the length of time? I would like to know.
3-4 times.
And you just stood there?
Tell me
Yeah.
everything he
Tickle?
was saying.
He was
Was he
like,
whispering in your ear?
I'm not really ticklish either. So he was like, he was laughing, and I was just like, what are you doing?
Show me on the doll. Meaning me. Show me on me. Where did he just
All right.
And this guy owned the restaurant?
He said he was the manager.
Okay. I mean, you could do worse. Let me say.
Wow,
He
that's
was
a
so
crazy
bald.
story.
The two of them were so bald. It was so
Yeah.
weird.
Him and the air guitar guy?
Yeah, but they had like strands of hair. Like it was that kind of bald.
See, the air guitar guy, that sounds like such a movie,
And
doesn't
why
it?
was
Like
he
the-
holding your phone up like that?
Right.
If he couldn't get into it, he was just
just
saw you and
holding
then
it?
held
Is
his
that what the
phone
music
up?
was playing out of?
I wasn't playing out of that. He was listening to a different song. The whole house. It was a tiny house. They were just blaring music at each other.
right. Well, I think we're going to move on. Jackie,
Yeah.
it's your turn. I have many thoughts.
Oy gewalt. Okay. My mother. Okay, so. Part of me was like, no, because part of me was like, do I give should I start with here's the headline of the story and then tell the story
You can do it.
here's
any
the
way
fun
you
little
want.
teaser.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
here's the story. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I'm from. And my parents were teachers. They're both retired now. My mom was mostly a guidance counselor. My dad was a social studies teacher. And so we grew up in New York. The high school I went to was like a specialized arts high school. So we had like a lot of big names that had gone there, like Marissa Tomei and like Darren Aronofsky,
Who are those people?
Marissa Tomei is an actress from My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, I know that.
Imagine, right? She's like, imagine you're Mattia, okay? Like,
When her little eyes light up, you guys, it's so fucking special.
So Marissa Tomei, and then Darren Aronofsky is the director of Pie and what other dark crazy ones? Like he
Black
most recently
Swan?
he did Black Swan most
okay.
recently. That'll come up on the story. And what was the other like trippy one?
Mother.
Fudge.
did
I can't
Mother?
think of the name. Maybe. His mother, but I was trying to think some of the earlier ones that he
that
done.
chick that was in Mother?
He was in with Rachel Weisz. They were actually they have a son together.
Right, but then didn't he date?
Oh yeah.
Jennifer
Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah,
Yes, he
yeah.
did. That was weird and creepy.
This is
But anyway,
above my pay
so
grade.
because that was the name of it. That was the name of it. Requiem for a Dream. Like he does like all these like weird,
that's
creepy
good.
ones and like Pie and all that. So growing up in New York, my parents knew his parents because his parents were also teachers as well. And then there's like another family, like my best friend's family were also teachers. So like all three of these families knew each other. So when Darren Aronofsky did his very first film, he ran out of money. He went over budget. He couldn't figure it out. So he asked a bunch of families to help donate money to like make this film. And I think in my head he was asking for like 200, but he was probably asking for like 2,000. And my dad was like, pretty much like, I'm going to give this Schmendrick $2,000 to like finish this film. Like,
Was this before?
go fuck yourself.
GoFundMe?
This is way before GoFundMe. This is like, I would say this is probably like what, like 99, 2000, like earlier time like that.
Okay.
So my dad says no, he's not going to give him any money.
Was it a school film?
He had won, I think, like a scholarship thing, like a grant to like make a film, and I guess he went over his budget on this thing. So anyway, my parents wouldn't give him the money. So now that he's actually successful, I'm like, could you not have cut a check? Like you couldn't cut a check, like to make sure, like maybe I could at least he could help me
Hold
in
on,
some way.
and he just asked your parents? You talk way fast for me.
Oh, I apologize.
It is weird to go from someone you're very melodic when you talk very slow, and then all of a sudden it's like blah, blah, blah. You're like,
You know
what?
what it is?
Hold on.
I feel like I've always had this fear that people will stop listening to me, so I have to say everything I want to say in one breath, or people are not going to listen to anything I have to say.
Well, we're committed.
Okay.
Yeah. So was he just asking for money from your parents?
To like, he reached out to like a bunch of family friends, like, or anybody.
Like
it's kind of like when we do,
wealthy-
like when we're trying to like promote a show. We're like, well,
Right.
anybody I've ever met come to the show, and you text like any number you have in your phone. That's kind of like what it was. It was emailing or calling. I guess I don't know if he emailed or like calling every family friend that he could think of, being like, "Give me money."
So what happened to that film?
It was the film that like launched his career. So it did well. We went as a family to like go see it, and at the end, like the thank yous come up, and he listed like everybody that donated to the thing. Like this other family friend of ours, the Gershaks, that's their name. This other family friend donated like a car gets blown up in the movie, and like they donated the car that gets blown up.
Cars
So,
for
like,
kids.
yeah. So, so like their name is in it. So like the whole time I'm like, you guys couldn't like write a check so like I could be with him. So cut to like a few years later, he's working on this Black Swan. He's doing Black Swan. And this other family friend, this other like third party friend has like a son that does like a crew and
Crew, blah, blah, blah.
he does
What?
crew like
Okay.
like props and crew, like build sets.
Okay.
So he my mom was like, you should ask Darren Aronofsky if you can work on
You say
Black
that so
Swan.
Darren Aronofsky.
I feel like I'm sitting with my mother. Like this is like my father.
She's allowed to be a human being, Jessica. Okay, fuck.
Every time she says this, Darren Aronofsky.
It's like literally like I'm sitting at dinner with my parents, and my dad's like, I don't understand you. Speak slower. I'm like, how do you not feel like I'm talking to an old woman now? So
Don't give me eye contact when you say that.
I was looking straight at Andrew. Straight at Andrew. So my mom recommends to this family friend of ours, like, oh, if you want to work on film, you should contact Darren, ask him if like you can work on his film. And when you do, make sure you mention Jackie. like she can get me into Black Swan through this friend. Make sure you mention Jackie. So this guy, Scott, this friend of ours, asks Darren, like, oh, hey, can I like work on the film? And Darren, I guess happened to be able to get him like a job working on like props or something like that. And my mom is livid. My mom is so angry because she was like, I told Scott that he was supposed to get a part as Darren to put you in the movie. How come Scott didn't ask you to be in Black Swan? And I was like, Ma, this is first of all, the art department doesn't get to ask the director, like, who's going to be. And she's like, I told him specifically to mention you, that you should be in the movie. So my mom is now mad at Darren Aronofsky that I am not,
That you weren't in Black
that
Swan.
I wasn't in Black Swan. And I was like, but Ma, what did you want me to do in the movie? And she's like, you could have been a dancer in the background. And I was like, but Ma, the entire background, like all the background actors were all from like the American Ballet Company or something. And she was like, you could have had a tutu on in the background. Like you could have been in it.
Is there a comic or something? What movie was that from where it was like, you could have been a dancer?
I think it was, you could have been a contender.
Yeah. Or was that person talking too fast? Okay. Wow. Two very strong
The doctor
stories.
said it's cancer. And it's like, no, it said I could have been a contender.
Well, that fits
Wow.
too, though. For the movie, you could have
Yeah.
been a contender.
I could have been a contender.
Can you imagine
so-
if you were in that movie, everyone would be like, who is that chatty fucking ballerina slouching around in the back?
If anything, they would have been like, oh, that dancer's been eating way too much.
Like, Jackie, no, just lip. We don't actually need you to talk. Just-
They're like, why do we have to have like equal hire? Like they were like, we do like as if they have to hire like equal opportunity employment. That like they had to reach out to like, who's the fatty in the leotard? Because I would be obese by ballet standards.
You're very trimmer, but by ballet standards for
Yeah.
sure, yeah. Because those chicks weigh nothing. Wow, two very strong stories.
Very enough.
wow.
Do you have any questions for Jackie Ann or Darren Aronofsky? Sorry.
That's all that was going in my head every time she said
Like I'm a little chihuahua.
Any questions?
I mean, does your mom still butt into your business like that?
They've always butt into my business like that. Yeah,
Okay, so it's never stopped.
it's never really stopped.
Jewish parents are different, Jessica.
Right?
They care about their kids.
Just like, tell me about parents. What are parents like?
And where do they live now?
They're still in Brooklyn, in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they proud of you?
What the fuck does that have to do with the Darren Aronofsky story?
I can't tell if they're real questions or you just want to live vicariously through. Ish. I think they're as proud as they can be. They don't understand. Like it's a world that they don't understand. Entertainment.
What do they do?
They're both
teachers.
teachers.
That's right.
My dad's actually like a local politician, but
Oh, he is?
yeah,
Well,
Does he know the
Brooklyn, that's huge, right?
Ortez Ocasio Sanchez? What's her name?
probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I can't even
it's
remember her
like,
name, yeah.
My dad was like, so it's like old school guy there too. But yeah, I feel like my parents were like teachers and Like we're so like old world. Like my grandparents are Holocaust survivors, so like my parents are like very like, well, you just get a job that pays the bills and you take care of that. Like this idea of like, oh, you just go out there and try and do what you want to do. Like, they became teachers because they needed to work, not because they were like, I love children.
Really? And they never
like maybe a
went
priest.
to the Berkshires or anything like that,
Hold
where
on.
they.
Felicia, 1 second. What did you say?
So that's like being a priest.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said like that's when I became a priest.
I don't think it's us. I'm starting to think
Yeah.
it's you.
You better fucking put down that vape.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I
That
thought
pineapple vape thing you're smoking is not, might not be all pure, if you know what I mean. All right. Well, interesting. So let's move on to your next story.
All right, so
Stop that. Why do you act like such a shy guy?
So far, I feel like my stories are paling in comparison. I haven't even heard your second one.
No, that was a good story.
Yeah?
You told a really
You like
good
the
story.
Aronofsky?
Darren Aronofsky.
all right, second one. All right, so this time I did like before I came here doing comedy, I did like 6 years in university. So I just killing time by getting degrees and masters.
Here?
No, back in Ireland.
Oh wow.
So I did like I was doing a commerce and German degree. I'm actually like fluent in German.
You are?
Yeah, I lived there. Weirdly like I used to be a German gun translator for the Irish Navy.
Wow.
Like what kind of, like you can say anything, so you can talk pure, you're like,
It's been a while, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
like at the time, like the Irish Navy bought a load of guns off the German Navy.
Wait a minute. There's an Irish Navy and like a
yeah, it's
Great
they're
Britain.
stationed at the Isle of Cork.
Yeah, yeah.
I swear to God, I read it somewhere.
They actually are though.
Oh, yeah, are they?
So like, yeah, they bought a load of like big guns too that are on like warships.
so really quick, can you say in German what color underwear are you wearing?
Welche? Fuck, it's been so long. I can't off the top of my head.
Okay.
Es tut mir leid.
That means I'm sorry.
Oh!
I speak a little German.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Porquito over here.
God, you were so stupid. I love it. You're hilarious, Jessica. Jessica makes me laugh all the time. All right, so you were a translator because
Oh, yeah, so they bought,
bought
like,
German guns the
From
Irish.
like World War II, they were
Why would
definitely
they do that?
just because they were cheap. Irish people are cheap, but all the manuals were in German, and they needed someone to translate. And randomly, like my aunt was having dinner with her husband and his best friend, and his best friend worked in the Navy, and was like, "Oh, we need someone who speaks German." And my aunt was like, "He'll do it." Like about me, and then I was like, "No way, I'm too cool to do that." And they were
How
like,
long ago was this?
7 years, 9 years.
Is that before Google Translate?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that was around too. But
Because is that what you used?
No, I actually,
got a point.
I did one. It was like so technical. First of all, they offered me so much money. I was like, all right, I'll do it. But this wasn't even the story. This is just off on a tangent, which is unfortunate.
Well, okay, continue your story.
All right, so like in college, for parts of studying the German, we had to go to like live in Germany for a year. And my teacher hated me. Siobhan, that was her name. She hated me. She gave me the worst place called Constance, which is like in southern.
I like how you paused, like as if we were going to be like, oh yeah, Constance. Like as if we all knew.
You never know with these two fuckers. They're like, oh yeah, the Island of Constance.
I spent a day in Germany, but that was on a base, Ramstein.
Oh.
We just stopped there on the way to Iraq.
Oh really?
That's
Ramstein.
that's the base whenever they have people injured from the Middle East or whatever, and they always evacuate them
Yeah.
to Germany for its Ramstein,
All right.
right?
Yep.
So
Thank God I got that right.
it was.
I wouldn't know better to correct you anyway. Like, okay.
So like it was brutal where I was
Jack, are you
staying.
okay with us talking about all this German
I got to
stuff?
tell you, it was,
Oh my God.
when he was about to start talking in German, my blood, I was like the language itself makes my stomach boil. Where he was about to speak in German, and I was like, and then he's like, I forgot it, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like I hear the language, and I was like, like it's
No,
just
I feel
literally-
that way, and my mother was from Berlin, and when I hear and my stepmother was from Berlin, and so I grew up a little bit in Berlin. When I hear Germans talk, it's hard for me too, even because it's very harsh, and obviously other things too. But it's such an ugly language.
It really
yeah.
honestly is. It's just like anything. I feel like even I love you just sounds like you're yelling at somebody
Yeah.
or like spitting
Ik
in your
liebe
mouth.
dick.
Yeah, ich liebe dick.
Is
No,
that what
I
it is?
said
It just sounds like suck my dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ik
I
liebe
love you. It's
dick.
like suck my
Leave
dick.
a dick?
Cleaver dick.
ich liebe dich.
Lieber dick.
Yes, liebe dick.
I feel like if that would have been Lieberman's campaign slogan, maybe he would have won. Like when Lieberman Gore would be like, Lieber dick. And be like, we got this.
Well, that's a reach. So continue for your story.
It made sense to me. You know when
Okay,
things
no,
make
I
sense
get
to
it.
you?
I get it.
So like for the first 5 months, whatever, it was brutal. We used to get so fucked up on like $3 vodka because it was just so bad. This little shitty
In
city.
Constance,
Yeah, it was
Germany.
like people go to bed at 11. It was not fun, and we were just drinking cheap vodka. Myself and my buddy were like, we have to get out of here. But we went back for Christmas, and when I was coming back at Christmas, like from Ireland to Germany, I got fucked up the night before, like so fucked up. It was funny. And it was like 5 a.m. My flight was at 9. And I was like, I'm just going to stay up drinking. It makes sense. So I stayed up. I went home and I was like, fuck, I never packed. I packed like 3 shoes, socks, and a fucking PlayStation controller. That's all I packed. All right? So I
Did
get
they
to
have
the...
the PlayStation in Germany?
I think I had... I don't know. It was
No,
so
it's
fucked. I was
only in
just like...
America, Jessica.
I meant like, because he only packed the controller.
Right.
Did he already have the PlayStation
How old
back
are you
in
at this
Germany?
time?
Like 22.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. So anyway, right, I get to the airport and like my flight was at 6, not at 8, but I'm just standing there drunk as fuck, wondering. I was like, oh, the airport's empty. I'm just waiting, and people come up to me, they're like, why are you waiting here? And I was like, oh, I'm going to Germany, and they're like, you missed that flight. So I had to wait for the second flight. So I just got drunk at the airport, got fucked. I get into Germany, I'm like, I have to keep drinking or I'm going to have the worst hangover of my life. So I booze, and then like 2 days later, I wake up and I'm so paranoid. I'm like, oh, I think I have AIDS. No reason whatsoever.
You get AIDS from drinking.
I was just like, what the
So
fuck
you blacked
happens?
out for 2 days? Is that
No,
what
I don't
you're
black
saying?
out. I just keep going. We can drink in Ireland. We're not pussies. I do shows at rehabs sometimes, and I open with that, and they're all like, boo. So after like 2 days, I'm like, fuck, I have to get my life together. So I go to the doctor, and I'm just like, he's like, what's wrong? This German doctor, and I was like, I know this sounds weird, but I just don't want to have AIDS. And he's like, you don't have AIDS? And I was like, I have, but how would you know? And he was like so chilled. He goes, okay, go to the chemist, the pharmacist, whatever you call it here, buy this medicine. I'm going to fucking needle it into your ass. So I was like, okay. He said it'll clean out my system. So I go there.
This is weird. You got people tickling you, and then now
Yeah, so
somebody
I
just wants
go-
to shoot something in your butt.
But the pharmacist is like, oh, it's going to take like fucking 30 minutes for us to get it together. So
I
I'm
don't think
like,
there's anything that can wash out your system for AIDS.
I think he was just doing it to appease me. Because I was just like, just
Maybe
do
like
something.
a penicillin shot?
Yeah, some shit like that. He knew I didn't have AIDS, but I was like, all right, I think I have AIDS. I still think I have AIDS because you see billboards in West Hollywood. You might have AIDS. And I have this Catholic guilt. I'm like, oh, I fucking deserve it. So then while I'm waiting for the pharmacist, I go into this like newsagents, whatever, fucking supermarket thing. And I'm looking at a magazine and it has these like free toy on the magazine. And they're like sex dice. So I'm holding the sex dice, and it's all like German for like lick my balls or suck my ass or all this stuff. And I'm just looking at it.
Regular foreplay in Germany.
Yeah. And I'm just walking around. But I leave like the magazine section and go to a different part of the store. And for some reason, these like 2 security guards come over to me. And when they come over, like, I didn't realize I put the sex dice in my pocket. And they were like, you in German, they're like, you have to come with us. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And they bring me to a back room, like the police arrive and everything. The police skidded into the city centre in like a cop car. And I was just...
What is this? Is a big deal? Nothing else is going on in
Yeah,
this town?
my buddy was outside waiting for me, and he was like, "Oh fuck, there's a bomb or something in there," but it was for me. So I'm in this room, and they're like, "Empty your pockets," and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I empty my pockets, and there's like sex dice, and they were like, "You're trying to steal that," and I was like, "No, I wasn't." So they made a big fuss. They told the university. The university were like, "Yeah, you can't stay here anymore," but I was like, "I can't tell my Irish university or they'll fuck me out." So me and my buddy just went to Barcelona for like 6 months. And then we were like, they just gave me a fail for the year. And I was like, fuck, I have to redo this whole year.
Maybe you are a thief because I've got people were stealing from me in Barcelona.
Oh, yeah, I literally, I went to Barcelona, but we just moved there. I went there the first night, a guy stole my wallet.
Yeah.
They come up and they're like, "You like soccer?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, I do like soccer." And they do this like dance where they jiggle your pocket, and they just took the wallet. And it was an American dude was like, he just stole your wallet, and we chased him. He threw the wallet away, and then we chased him into like 50 fucking street thieves. We were like, all right.
It's like my father got pickpocketed too when we were in Barcelona.
Really?
On a train.
Yeah.
We were on a train. He actually had to ride the train by himself. He like got separated, and he was so proud of himself. He's like, "Look, I did it! I rode the train by myself." And we saw like a woman turn a wallet into like police officers while we were waiting for him. And I was like, "Oh, Mom, look how nice! Like somebody turned a wallet in." And then my dad comes out. And he's like patting himself, like he's like, "Who has my wallet?" And sure enough, the police officer's like, Jacob. And handed it back.
So, wow, that's a very long, meandering story that has a lot of twists and turns.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, but then
like-
the ends, I was like,
oh, we're not at the end.
but then the end, I was like, fuck, what? I thought my college were going to kick me out, like back in Ireland, which would have been brutal. And they were just like, all right, just do like a 500-word essay about your year in Germany. And I wrote this story, and they were like, "Oh, that's a very good story you made up. You passed the year." And I was like, "Oh, thank you."
But it was a true story. So you say.
Wow.
I had to tell them it was made up because they were like,
So now you went to Germany just to study German through your Irish
college, yeah.
college. It had nothing to do with the job where you were translating.
Oh, no, that all
wa-
came after,
okay,
once I
okay.
got the degree.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to eat in Germany?
Porridge. I didn't really like the food. Like, it was too fucking sauerkraut in there.
I don't like sauerkraut. Ugh.
Actually, they used to do these like fucking legs of fucking ham or beef or something.
Now you're talking.
No, fucking unreal. But me and my buddy used to go to this like little meat house. I don't know what the fuck it was called. There was this old creepy, old creepy fucker used to sit in the corner, and he just like always take care of our check. He was the creepiest looking fucker, but he was like, "Oh, I got those 2 young boys meat," and we'd be like, "Thanks, Granddad."
Wow. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
1 brother, 1 sister.
Wow, interesting.
How did you meet Dalia?
Just from around here.
Okay.
How long have you been in the States?
Maybe 8 years, 9 years.
And how long have you been doing comedy altogether?
Like 8 or 9 years.
Oh, did you
Everything's
start?
8 or 9 years. 8, 9 years ago, he was in Germany. 8 or 9 years ago, he
Because
did
it was
comedy.
all just
8 or
after.
9 years
Himself.
ago.
I don't know. But what you thought you had to have this degree, but did you think you were going to be a comedian? Because you don't need a degree to be a
No,
comic.
it was just like, because my brother was a year older, we did like similar. Because I was like, on paper, I'm technically smart. So I was good at school. So they were like, "What are you going to do? A lawyer, doctor?" And I was like, "No, I'll do this fucking bullshit." And then I got a master's in e-business. So like my...
E-business?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Like e-com.
yeah, e-commerce and stuff. It was like basically like building websites and apps. And my college were like, oh, you should stay on, become a doctor, do a PhD and all this shit. And I was like, nah, I gotta go do comedy.
So you did comedy in Ireland first?
No, I just came here and I was like, fuck it, start
Are you
here.
serious?
Yeah.
Wow. How
Like my parents
interesting.
definitely thought I was psychotic. Oh, because my brother like did the same and he's the same masters. So like he's got 4 kids now and married.
Right.
And I'm here.
And you're the playboy getting tickled around China.
All right. And any questions? Do you have any questions that you would like to ask him, Jackie?
You rendered her speechless. What's happening?
Are you? That's all right if you don't. That's
think I'm
okay.
good. I think I'm
okay.
good.
All right. So why don't we start with your second story?
Okay. I feel like I have to speak like in a different cadence.
No. That's we've
Just
established.
make sure you talk in the mic,
I
okay,
know.
hon? All right.
Okay.
Even though I'm so loud, you could like hear me on the other side. Like I could be in another room and you would hear me tell this story. That's why I also feel like my stories are so short because I'm like screaming them at you. We've talked about how Jewy I am, so that's come up.
Yes.
So I think when my brother and I first started like going to public school, I think my mom was like afraid we were going to lose like any semblance of being Jewish or like losing our history, like our
So how long did you go
traditions.
to a Jewish school?
I went until 5th grade, and then I went to public school starting like junior high age, and then like had to go and do like the after school programs for like a bit. But then once I had my bat mitzvah when I was like 13.
How can I go to one of those?
You want one of those things? You want one of those? No, guy. Could grease a rabbi
Go
for you.
see one.
You can come.
Yeah, I've never been.
I ran out of cousins. I don't have anybody young anymore.
It's like
to
a
tell you to
wedding,
come.
but you're 13. It's like that
know.
kind
It
of
really
a big
is.
party. Yeah.
When I DJ'd in Vegas, they never let me go DJ those.
Really?
Yeah, I always had to do the regular weddings.
Oh, we say it was like huge. Like it was almost like a wedding. We would always like have a DJ and like 6 dancers that are like coming out.
Really?
Like like 60
Jesus.
dancers
Yeah.
coming like matching outfits and just
Like
dance.
Seems like it'd be a
strippers?
good time.
Yes, strippers. It's like it's a blast. But it's like I mean, my dad even said he's like, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. You're gonna pay every penny of it back when you get older. Like,
Oh,
it's-
really?
Yeah, I think my parents were like taking money out of their like retirement fund to pay for the bat
Oh, it's a
mitzvah.
big thing, yeah.
And then all the gifts that I got, like I never saw any of that cash. That cash went right back into the bank that like the money got taken out. Like it went
Right.
right back into the thing.
Okay.
So once we started like junior high, I think my mom was like so scared that we were, going to lose this religion. So my brother is a little bit older than me. When he started high school, I remember she pulled him aside and she was like, I just want to let you know, you are only to date Jewish girls. You can't bring home anyone that's not
no shiksas.
Jewish. Yeah, no shiksas. And then I happened to just walk into the room while she was telling that story. And so she was like, you know what, you could hear this too. She was like, so even from junior high, she was like, you can't date a non-Jew. You can't bring home a non-Jew. So I was like,
Yeah,
all
but
right.
What if you're like Natasha Leggero and she converted for Moshe?
She did. So I asked my mom once, like, I had to do like there was like a guy, well, we'll get to that
Okay. Sorry.
We'll get it. But once I had asked my mom, I was like, what happens if somebody wants to convert? And she was like, for you? I was like, wow. I chose a weird place to pause.
She's like, good luck, sister.
I was like, that was an odd.
Look at
that was
this
an odd
dreamer.
place to pick to choose a breath. But yeah, like I remember once I was like, Ma, what are the rules for conversion? And she's like, for you, there are none. And I was like, no, but like, what are the general rules? And she was like, well, it had better be like an Orthodox conversion. And I was like, okay. So I was like, meaning like, if you just get like converted in like a reform thing, like it's not accepted by every rabbi. Like the Orthodox one has to be like, accepted by every rabbi.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, but so I grew up knowing that.
Now, your parents were Orthodox Jews?
My mom grew up Orthodox, and then I kind of grew up like conservative. It wasn't like as same as was. So I grew up knowing that. So I always had that fear in me about it. And then when I was 18, I happened to be dating somebody I went with some friends of mine for spring break to...
Just jump into the dick story now. Don't powder coat it.
So I
sugarcoat
met
it.
this Irishman.
I met this.
Get to it.
It all started when I was doing a podcast. he just kidding. He had this weird Scottish accent for a black man. He had a very strong Scottish accent. But when I was 18, we went on spring break, and I was with some friends. We went out and I met this. We were in Virginia Beach because it was like right after 9/11, so nobody wanted to fly for spring break. So we went to Virginia Beach, and there happens to be like a lot of stations down there. There's like Coast Guards and Marines and things. So I met a Coast Guard guy.
What was his name? Can you say his first
Bradley.
name? That's my cousin's name. Go
Is it
ahead.
really?
Yeah.
Bradley.
This fits Virginia then?
Bradley Martin. Bradley Martin was his name. And
Was
so
he a white guy?
Yeah, it was
Bradley
white.
Martin. Isn't that a car?
I think that's an Aston Martin.
Oh, Jesus, no. Oh, no. Look at that. Doesn't James Bond drive a Bradley Martin?
By the way, I just want to say I love how you're all like, Natasha converted from Moshe. When we went to the deli a few weeks ago, she asked the waitress, "Are you Jewish?" I was like, "Oh."
Now she won't even let anybody even serve her if they're not Jewish. Like, you can't even wait on me.
I just honestly
She's
wanted
not
to
Jewish.
But at that moment, as your dinner companion, you can't. There's no way to explain yourself out of. She's harmless.
That
Please
happens
don't spit on
anytime,
her
like,
food.
because I keep kosher. So, like, anytime, like, I go out to eat, like, I'll basically eat vegetarian. And anytime I'm like, oh, so, like, does that have chicken sauce? They're like, she's Jewish. I'm like, you don't have to announce to them. You can just say I'm vegetarian. Like, you don't have to give backstory for
so you keep
everything.
kosher?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like that
Did you
part
keep
always...
kosher with Bradley?
I did not. There's been many and unkosher things that have passed this lips, but doesn't just. Well, I guess it does go down the hatch too. I was gonna feel like it does. I was gonna feel like it's come into my mouth, but it's never been inside of me. And I was like, actually, that's a lie.
Wow, that's a lot of information in one sentence. Okay, so you're down in Virginia.
I met Bradley,
You met Bradley.
in Virginia, and so we kind of had like kept like a long distance thing because I kept saying like, you can never meet my parents. Like, he was like, oh, I'd love to meet my parents. I'm like, my parents will never know you exist. Like, we can't.
Also, this wasn't a one-time thing.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to just be like a spring break hookup. Like, each of us sharing, the 5 of us sharing this hotel room. Each had like, our little Coast Guard person that we were filming on, but it was supposed to like end there. But a lot of IM messages later, AOL Instant Messenger for the kids. We were messaging a lot. We were like talking all the time, and he kept asking like if he could meet my family and wanted to meet people, and I didn't really know how to go about it because it's like such a no-no, like in my thing, like tattoos and non-Jews are like the two things like you cannot do. And he actually had like a whole bunch of tattoos that like came down, they passed the rest. But
Can we really freak him out if you brought me home?
if I was like, Natalie,
I'm a lesbian.
I'm a lesbian.
She's definitely not Jewish.
Not
She
Jewish.
doesn't even know what it's about. She's got tattoos, piercings. Welcome home.
Yeah, welcome home. Here's your ma. I don't know if you know, but my dad might be dead in a few years, so maybe we could give it a run. We could try then.
So what happened?
So I did actually. I finally like gave in one time, and like I had brought him up to a dinner. At first, I had prefaced with like, "Can I bring a friend?" But then I think my parents were like pretty hip to it pretty quickly that it wasn't like just a friend that was coming.
And then you said Bradley, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Whitest name ever.
Bradley's not the like. I think it was the Martin part that threw them off. Because like with like my parents, like if you say one name, they're like, "And what's the last? And what's the last name?" And then like they'll have to try and think like, could that have been changed? Like maybe it was something like Moshkovitz, and he changed it to Martin, or like they'll try and like think of some way for it. And I made sure that he had to wear like long sleeves. Like I didn't want anything to peek through, like any tattoos or anything. So I brought him to dinner. My grandmother was still alive at the time. And that I think was like the hardest part. Part of me was like, I don't know how to like, you're going to sit there next to Bubby and not know what to do. And so I brought him, and it was, he came up to dinner. It was like prefaced like friend that was like visiting from like out of town. So like hopefully that would be okay. And so he came, he sat down at dinner. And it was like almost like a movie, like anything that could go wrong, like anything where you're like, all right, like here's the plan. What you're going to do is wear long sleeves. And if anybody asks, you're going to say this and this. And like, sure enough, reaching for I think it was like barbecue sauce or like something dumb like that, like reaching for barbecue sauce, and then like it got on his shirt, or what was he reaching for the barbecue sauce on kind of shirt? I can't remember which one, but like barbecue sauce got like on the collar. So he like rolled it up to get it out of the way, and then sure enough, like all the tattoos came on the arm. They saw that. It was like,
They're like, "Oy vey."
You don't even say it right, Jessica. Oy vey.
Sounded like gravy. Gravy.
And it's just like it all started to unravel. And then the best part, like almost again, like movie, like senile grandmother at the table who like doesn't quite realize what's going on too, so just keeps asking him like questions about things. She's like, why is everybody getting like, why is everybody quiet and not talking? And then she's like, why is everybody yelling? And she doesn't understand like English, so she wasn't quite getting like what was happening.
Where's she
too.
from? Your grandmother?
So the only grandmother that I really grew up with, this grandmother was like mostly spoke Yiddish and Polish.
Okay.
But they were more like, she was more Romanian, but they lived in Poland for like a long time. So they spoke like Yiddish, which Yiddish is mostly German.
It's a lot of, yeah.
It's mostly
yeah.
German, yeah, with like a little Polish in there. So that started to unravel. And because of that, then my family actually did not speak to me for 6 months after I had brought him
Over some pasty dick.
after
So sad. Oh.
over
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah, so I didn't speak to me for like 6 months. So I couldn't like that year. I like didn't go home for any of the holiday times. It was like actually like wagered that my dad was like, you either like break up with him or you sleep outside. Like you're not
Jesus.
like you can't do
Is
that.
this during the time when you were working at California Pizza Kitchen?
No, this was
Okay.
still when I lived at home. Like I was still in
Okay.
New York at the time. I was working at Roland Roaster. It was actually even more exciting. I have a great
Roland
history.
Roaster?
Roland Roaster, which is a roast beef place. Yeah, so I brought him home. My family actually like disowned me for like 6
You're
months
already
and like
looking at
wouldn't talk to me for like 6 months, and made me not only like swear not to talk to Bradley, but in that time, one of the crazy things, like in the 6 months, like that they weren't talking to me, I was still like dating him, like we were still seeing each other, and then I had like a pregnancy scare right in like the middle of like probably like 4.5 months, and when they like were not speaking to me, so I had to like they asked like, do I tell my mom? Do I not tell my mom how to do it? What to do? But
Fuck no, you don't tell your mom. Shut up. I'm going to tell my mommy. Shut up. You don't tell your mom.
I didn't. I have a couple of friends of mine like just don't. So I thought that I pregnancy scare, and I think that was the thing that just made me go, I can't do this, because I was like, if I have this baby, I can't have this baby on my own, and I'm like can't raise it, and that's when I started being like, if I can't have a not Jewish baby, what would happen? Like my kids have to be fully Jewish. I had this like meltdown. So I broke up with Bradley. I did not see him again until about 5 months ago. He actually was out here, and he was at a show that I did that I had no idea that he was going to be at. So he was at a show. Like I finished doing this show and went out to see the audience afterwards, and he was there. And that was it.
Wow, that was such a long fucking story. I can't even remember what your first story was. Fuck, dude.
I felt like it was shorter than Tickle Me Elmo. Like it was shorter.
I feel like she wore this shirt too because it almost feels like the little squiggly thing that goes round and round to hypnonize you.
Right, like,
And she just keeps talking.
Bradley.
Like,
Do you have any questions?
well,
Are you awake?
What if it was Bradley Cooper? Would your parents be okay with that?
Well, it depends. It would be Bradley Cooper then or Bradley Cooper now. Like back then, when I was 18, nobody knew who Bradley Cooper was, so they'd know.
Oh.
Bradley Cooper now, my mom would be like, that's fine. He can
Has
take
she
care of
mellowed
you.
out with age?
I feel like now at this point, my parents are like, if anybody can take care of you, I don't care. Like, you won't be our worry anymore, go. So.
Jesus. That's so sad.
It is pretty sad. My cousin just got engaged and she's 45, and my dad was like, see, there's hope for you.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
yeah, I'm probably not going to be a first wife. It's fine.
That's overrated. Anyways, and I say that as the second wife.
Yeah.
So no questions for
No, because I guess I just bored you guys to
Jackie?
death, so there's no questions.
No.
you call
There's a
your-
lot to.
You call your grandma
Bubby.
Bubby?
Yeah.
That's cute. Maybe we're not so different. I call my brother Bubba.
Oh, thank you. Same connotation.
I call my penis Bubby. We're all the same.
You call your penis Bubby?
Because it bubbles.
Okay. Are you serious?
You got a bubble top?
Oh, I was like, what?
He's like, I cum bubbles.
Call your penis grandma? What?
And I definitely can relate to your story because, you know, I liked black guys. I still do. As a kid, and my parents got really mad. My parents sent me to my priest on my first crush because my first crush was on a black boy. They sent me to my priest.
Really?
I don't know, for like exorcism or something. I don't know.
I don't know what my parents
What
would
is
do. Like,
the exorcism to not put big black dick in your mouth? What is that? What is the actual
the priest
ritual?
gives you mouth exercise to make it smaller so you can't have a black dick in there. If I brought home a black Jew, I don't know what my parents would do. I feel my parents would be like, does not compute, like their brains would like explode.
Right.
I don't know if they would be okay with that one or not.
So do we want to see which one of hers is the truth and which one is the...
You want to vote? What are you thinking?
Stare into my shirt.
See, she's been in Hollywood longer than I have.
Yeah, I tend to think that Darren... I was going to try to do it again. I couldn't even do it. I was like, Darren Aronofsky. I feel like that's probably the... I'm going to say that's the true story because...
She said that one a lot, like seamless. It was very
You
quick.
know, I have an issue with...
She stuttered a lot more on the second
your
one.
Parents being so close-minded because they were
So did she.
teachers.
Yeah, but she did
Usually,
say,
but what you're okay with for others is still different than what you're okay
Right,
with
no,
for your
I
own.
get that, but
and she did say
feel
they're only
like-
teachers for a paycheck. They didn't like kids.
Oh, good detail.
Oh, you did say that?
Good detail.
You heard that out of all that talking? I fucking didn't hear that. Oh my god! Did you really say that?
I think that was like I think I said it in the beginning of that first story.
The
Wow.
first story,
Yeah.
she said that.
I said it for
fucking
that.
dig you, Jessica, that you caught that. Wow. Then that throws a whole
Wrench in it.
wrench into the works. You know, I'm going to still say the Darren Aronofsky story is true about your father wouldn't give him any money for his first film.
That does sound very Jewish.
Well, that's just stereotypical.
Yeah.
You're
That
being
has nothing to do with
stereotypical
it, but-
Jewish.
no.
That would if some guy asked my dad, can you throw money
Right.
towards my brother? He'd just be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I think that's any dad, basically, pretty much.
More of a-
So I'm going to say the Darren Aronofsky story is true. What do you think about her stories there, Mark?
Yeah, I think the first one's true. Maybe parts of the second is true, but
Andrew?
I want to say that the first one is true. It just seems a little more set in reality, and also I just noticed you were playing with your hairband a lot in the second story. It seems like you were nervous. I don't know if that was.
Yeah.
It does. Talking about that story always makes me nervous. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, but
Sure it does. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the second one's a lie.
Because even though you were quick, you do talk fast, but your first story was more organized. But sometimes when people tell an unorganized story, a lot of times
It's
that's
because
the
they've
real
thought
story.
about it and
Yeah.
rehearsed it and knew what they were going to say.
Right, but
You know what I mean?
but if you were a little all over the place with the second story.
She was, and you did.
But
you were like,
sometimes, but
fiddle.
sometimes when people are
my
all over
fidgeting.
the place, it tends to be the true story though too. So it's hard to
I
say.
know, it's so hard.
But I'm going to stick with
sounds
Aronofsky.
like you'd be a bad lawyer. You'd be like,
I know. Yes.
who knows if my
Absolutely.
client killed him? I half agree with the.
maybe it'd be worse for a jury. You'd be like, I don't know.
No, I mean it could be. Oh.
It's really tough. I think maybe to be a contrarian too, I do think the first story was very seamless and you were quick with it. And I think maybe a lot of the things in that are true. And maybe because I remember that detail and you brought that up, I'm going to say the second story is true.
So what is it?
Oh, we're telling it now?
Yeah, what is it?
The first story is true.
All right.
It makes. I mean, that is the logical choice.
It
You
makes
were
sense.
seamless. You were smooth with that first story.
Yeah, you were a little bit all over the
map with the
with
second.
the second story. Yeah.
Second one was it was hard. It was, yeah, I mean, there was part you said there were like parts that were true, which was like my mom did tell us when we were real young, like don't bring it home anybody who isn't Jewish.
Right.
That I've never
Wow.
actually have.
I remember specifically my. This is so fucked up.
I killed a man once.
But when I was a kid, when I was about that age, my mom explained to me where a man's taint was. I was like, "Why are you telling me this information?"
I didn't even know that word until like I was like 20 something.
I was going to the first drive-in movie theater on a date. I was like 15, and then all of a sudden my mom's like, you know,
Just play with the taint. Is that what she tells you?
What?
And you know what? I've never
Avoid the
found a
taint.
man that was like, I could use some more taint action. So my mother was wrong.
Wait, she said play with the taint or avoid the taint.
She was like, that is like Treasure Island, the taint. You know what? She was like, yeah, like, she was saying that the taint, she didn't say Treasure Island, but she was just saying that the taint is very important. And then I was at the movie theater, like, first thing I did, go for the taint. And the guy was like, why are you on my taint, bitch?
I feel like even a guy at 15 doesn't even know that that's called a taint.
Right. They're just like, that's the space between.
Yeah.
We
'Cause
know.
I-
We
Yeah,
know.
okay,
We know.
You know?
I will
Taint.
say that she didn't say the word taint. She was talking about the taint.
Okay.
Because I know. Oh, that bitch was talking
The
about
only reason I even
taint.
know what a taint was is like I had some friends that were in a band and they had the shittiest tour bus ever, like a crap RV they bought to like tour the country, and it was so shitty they called it the taint. So that was like and I was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like 25, so I've never even heard
really?
that word before.
I like your mom.
Okay.
I like her guidance.
She
You
was
like
fun.
you
She
like the
was fun.
taint? Is the
Tainted
taint
Love.
right?
It's my
She
favorite
was
song.
fun. She also told me my dad had a big dick, but that's another story. It's hard to, accept your father as an authority figure when he's hung like Quick Draw McGraw. So now let's move on to Mark's stories. I'm so sorry. That's weird. That's weird.
Did you ever see it for yourself or no?
What?
Did you ever see it for yourself?
No, but I saw my brother's dick once, and it was huge, like by accident.
You've never seen your dad's taint. That's weird.
But my mother has.
I have seen my dad, like my dad's like because it's like he's old, like when you like walk by, like when you can like see like through someone's underwear.
Uh-huh.
Like I was able to like see once through and you just see like I saw a lot of brown mush and I was like, keep it moving, Jackie. Keep it moving.
Well, another story. Anyway, we'll move on. So, Mark's story was the one about the German living in Constance,
Right,
Germany.
and
That was
the
No, that was
losing
the
his
second.
phone.
That was the,
The first
second.
one was
losing his
phone.
phone, and then the
Tickle phone.
Yeah, and being tickled by a Chinese man, weirdly, and then translating German gunner.
That was just a detail
That was weird,
later.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
have
think
questions
we
about that.
steered him in that direction.
Yeah, and
but
that-
his stories did
He
go
did
all
say it
over
was
the
a
place.
tangent. When he started the second one and
Yeah.
got off on the translating, he did say, well, this is
He
a
did.
tangent to my story.
He did.
Right.
But his stories are very spiderwebby.
They are.
Yeah.
You know,
I actually very much think the first one. I think the first one's fake because I cannot, for the life of me, see an Asian man who lives like an Asian guy. They are so private and quiet. I can't see an Asian guy taking the initiative to like tickle a grown man and to like.
Okay, I have.
Now that.
I have a name to throw at you, Bobby Lee. Okay, like so. No.
But like in his own
Wasn't
restaurant. This is just the story of when he first met Bobby's parents at the bungalow. That makes sense. Bobby would be shirtless, dancing to music in his room.
So that's I'm more apt to believe the getting kicked out of school in Germany
For the sex dice.
for the sex dice thing.
You know what bothers me about the first story? Is all the windows being open. Just like open. He could see everything. Who does that?
And I don't think you would look. I think you would leave. At this point, you'd be like, I'm not walking around. I wouldn't walk around
And
the side of a
what
house
time
I
of
don't
day
know.
was this?
It was like 9:30.
but
Once
if
it's
you're
dark?
if you
Yeah.
are how long ago did this happen? The one about the phone at the comedy store and the Chinese man tickling you.
Like maybe 9 years. No, honestly. Like maybe over a year, between a year and 2 years.
Oh, a year and
ago.
2 years.
I can confirm he hangs out at the Comedy Store. I can confirm that people have asked him for pictures and been excited to
They're
see
like,
him.
we love you, Crystalia. Take a picture with us.
I could see if this was a story that happened to you 8 or 9 years ago. I could see you doing it then, but I can't see you chasing after a phone, even for a girl's number, because you're a comedian, so you know there's another girl just around the corner. Motherfuckers! And so I'm going to say the second story is true, because that seems plausible to me more than the first story, even though you didn't know how to speak a lot of German just now when I asked you earlier. So I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to say the German story is true.
Oh.
He didn't know. He couldn't come up with anything.
He couldn't say underwear. Ladies' man, you are, huh?
They speak
Can't
better
say-
English than us.
You can't say underwear in
Yes.
German?
No. I just said,
Lederhosen.
So
That's
what do you think?
or he could be just holding back and playing like he can't speak German. What if he really can?
I don't think he gave much.
Yeah,
effort
but he's not
into a
going to do
big
that because he
lie,
wants
though,
to
yeah.
try to think it's a lie.
I don't feel like he would think that far into it.
Yeah.
But he's an author. Maybe he does twists and
Oh,
turns.
that
he
is
is
very
a
true.
writer with 3 books on Amazon.
Yeah.
So he's creative.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe he knew the first one would sound so unreal.
Yeah,
We
and then I
wouldn't
was
believe
all
it.
like, you got your phone pickpocketed after you got your wallet pickpocketed?
I also, when I give someone a phone of mine, like I'm watching that phone like a hawk, though.
But no, he didn't give the phone. He just had the phone in the pocket. And
Yeah,
the
but when
person-
somebody asks for your picture, like here, I could see. I don't know that I would be that as suspicious, even though, and I've been robbed several times.
Yeah, but to say to someone at the Comedy Store, can I have a picture with you, and then they rob you? No. That's the shit that goes down is, not like that.
Yeah, but he wasn't a Comedy Store patron.
Yeah, but
I mean, he was like a regular. He was just.
No, I know. So why would someone ask a Comedy Store regular for a picture and then steal their phone?
Yeah, but I don't. You're not a regular here.
no.
Okay, why would someone? Okay,
Someone who was regularly at the club.
Having an argument here.
if they knew he was a famous comedian of some sort.
Right. I think
Right.
I've seen people like stop and they were Irish as well, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're blah, 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 blah."
That's your name. You're Marquez, my
Irish
favorite
talk
comedian, Marquez.
from the trailer park. So what do you think? So which one do you think? then,
It's so
Smarty Pants?
I hate that their windows are open, like all open at 9:00 at night, and you can see everything that's going on.
And they're hoarders.
And they're hoarder. I mean, but I do,
that
I
part
do believe
was,
that.
Yeah.
I think
But
a lot
then
of people
the guy
that.
holding the phone and he can't unlock the phone as he's playing air guitar.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, and this is going to sound bad. Probably you're going to want to edit it out or something, but
Oh no!
I do.
Everyone, seriously, brace yourselves! Brace yourselves!
People that either own or run Chinese restaurants, I can totally imagine them living that way.
That wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's not that bad.
What? Really?
That's how I see it. Yeah. Because think about the.
I could see them holding on to everything
Right,
in life, like how
exactly.
every newspaper. That part I do
Chinese
believe they hang on
restaurants
to
are
every
always so
paper.
cluttered, and they're not super clean at all.
No restaurants are super clean.
Yeah, but Chinese restaurants a lot of times are worse.
I am.
You know that. You went to that one. You took me to the fancy one. They're not all like that.
They don't have chargers that you can't eat off of.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one. I mean, no.
You know what? For that fact, that's why I'm going to say the
hoarding's a
first
whole
one's
different
true.
Sickness. You're gonna say the first
Yeah.
one's true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I fucking said the second one, bitch. No, I'm kidding.
They're all maybe they're all hoarding it for Buddha. You know what I mean? Because put the little.
Hoard for Buddha.
That's the part you should edit out.
Never heard anyone say hoard for Buddha.
Haunt for Jesus, hoard for Buddha.
But they come.
Very funny, Jackie. Hoard for Buddha. Hoard for Buddha. So, Andrew, do you have any questions?
About the stories, no. Jessica, though, we just so many
I
questions.
know.
I believe that the first one is the lie. However, I want it to be true, but the second one just seems so much more plausible and like kind of step by step could happen. So that's me.
What about you, Jackie?
I think the first one's a lie and that the second one was true.
Again, It's all against me.
Well,
there's just like a few little things in there that like I'm like, that's like too much suspension of, I don't know. They're just a little too odd for me.
Well, like I said, I think the second story is true. So, Mark, what is it?
The first one is true.
Really?
See, as soon as I went over to the Chinese restaurant thing, you should have listened to me.
I'm going to hear this forever.
Well, also, I mean, I feel like it's acceptable that they're all filthy. I just didn't think it was acceptable that, like, I don't know, that I didn't see the thing of the dancing and I don't know.
It does sound like a movie. It sounds like a movie panning
Honestly, the
over
Asian tickling him
the
is what
house.
did it for me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I don't think this grown man would tickle you.
I could see little Asian guys tickling, though.
Why is that?
'Cause
Tell us why, Jessica. Tickling for Buddha.
Because I actually want to know why I thought that one was such a lie. I thought it was a lie too because you had said in that one, we kept asking you, like, what did you do when he was tickling you? And you were like, I don't know, I blacked out. And then the second story,
Yeah, but
we're like,
you
you
see
drinking,
him-
and you're like, I don't black out. Irish aren't pussies. And I was like, you just blacked out in the first story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I meant I blacked out like as if like do what you need to do.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I
the
didn't
first
laugh.
one, he's like, he didn't laugh. He just, look at him. He's very stoic. He just kind of,
Yeah, I was just like, all right, you're
He's just
tickling me.
around
I need to
sometimes.
use your phone.
yeah, he's not like a very loud or, he's the opposite of you.
I was going to say, what are you trying to say? I feel like Jen's back there, like, raising and lowering the volume each time one of us speaks. Like, for Jessica and I, it's on, like, the
Jess-
lowest.
Jessica has fucking judgment when you said hoard for Buddha. That's too much.
But it is true. And you know what? For someone who loves Buddha, those statues are always dusty.
They are.
You're
That's what I'm
always like,
saying.
you need to dust off Buddha, put some new
Right.
candles, new
But they always
incense.
have apples for him, or they bring him all
The
kinds
apples
of
are
stuff.
always fresh. The apples are
I
always
mean,
fresh.
yes, if you see apples, like,
I think there was a couple of Buddhas at that place. I think it's called the Chinese American restaurant.
I'll never go there. It's
in-
just
I
called
wanna
Chinese
go there
American
one-
restaurant.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for stopping by and telling 4 fabulous stories. That was really a lot of
good.
fun.
I feel like
And
3.5. I feel
where
like it
can
was-
people follow you, Jackie? Where can people follow you?
So the Instagram is Jackie Gold. Twitter is I am Jackie Gold. And then I also run a couple shows around town. It's called Whiskey and Donuts Comedy. So we have at least 3 a month, and we kind of pop up in all different venues throughout LA. So you can follow us on Instagram at Whiskey, the letter N, Donuts Comedy.
Wonderful. And what about you, Marquez?
Just creeping around the streets. No, my Twitter is at Trickadoo.
Of course it
You can
is.
see, and then my Instagram is the Marquez.
You heard it that time, right?
tell that Marquez.
And then I don't know. Go read my books.
What
What
we
are the
have so
name
many
of your
questions.
books?
Random: The Adventures of an Irish Guy in LA. Randomer, and then Pre-Dom Before I Came. Thank you.
Are they true
Maybe I'll get that
stories?
for you
Oh,
for
yeah.
They're all
Christmas.
true stories? A collection of short stories?
No, they're all like linear, so it's like a full book.
Okay.
They all run into
Wonderful.
each other.
Good for you on that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Andrew just released a book. Do you want to tell us about your book, Andrew?
Yeah, it's on sale on Amazon right now. 365 funny facts for your unfunny father. Joke book that I wrote over the last year. It's on sale now. You can also follow me everywhere at @1AndrewRose, Twitter, Instagram, all the fun stuff. Yeah.
All right, and you can follow me at Felicia Michaels on Twitter, and it's Felicia Michaels also on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Before we go, I want to pick a winner.
Yes?
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're turning. This is a game show. You know what I mean?
I was not made aware of these rules before.
Good part.
Right. You don't think I'm doing a lot when I'm sitting here, but
Hoarding for Buddha
Yeah,
does not come from the void. It's well planned out.
She knew what this story was going.
Hoarding for Buddha.
okay. Jackie,
All right, so what we're doing is we're from now on. This is news to Andrew, by the way.
I'm so confused.
No, from now on, we've decided that we're going to pick the best liar.
Yep, I am. So, Jackie, you're great. You know, you talk.
Okay. The writing's on the wall.
In other words, fuck off.
Yeah, I get it.
You talk a good game.
A real fast
I
game.
busted it for Buddha. I got
You
it.
just didn't really bring it. today.
You know what?
Jesus Christ.
I
This was not the conversation we had.
I did
about
not
the
bring it
change
for
of the
Buddha.
podcast.
I'm still in JV, aren't I?
I mean, honestly, I expected more.
So did my parents.
No, but thank you for coming today.
Is there like a door number 2? Is there a consolation prize?
But today the winner
I
is
need Bradley Martin for real.
Marquez.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Gracias.
Thank you, and follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. And you've been lied to.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Rose again. I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast, Jessica, Felicia, and I really do appreciate it. We've had a blast the last 7 months, and we're going to continue that train rolling by having live shows. And the next live show that we have is coming up on December 19th at the Dojo of Comedy atop Sycamore Tavern in West Hollywood. We are going to have tickets for that on sale pretty soon. It's going to be on the Liars Club Twitter. It's going to be on our Instagram. It's going to be on our personal Instagrams, Twitters, and Facebook. So please give us a follow. And also, if you could go on whatever podcast app you're listening to, be it Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Laughable, or the iTunes podcast app, please go and give us a rate, a review, a subscribe, or if you've got time, please do all 3. That would be awesome. And also, let your friends know about it. Thank you.